flows with milk and honey. So Rashi comments that usually the word hashkifa, when it appears in Tanakh, means to gaze with malevolence, to gaze with bad intent, to gaze negatively. That's maybe why we call glasses mishkafayim, because God created us that we wouldn't need glasses. But here, hashkifa is an exception. Here, hashkifa reflects a blessing. The Rebbeinu Shalom should gaze upon us and bless us and bless the land that we live in, meaning the land of Israel, Eretz Zovas Cholav Vodvash, the land that flows with milk and honey. So we would think that Eretz Zovas Cholav Vodvash is just a nice phrase to describe the prosperity that one can feel living in Eretz Yisrael. But the Gemara says that aside from this idea, which is certainly correct, how we should view Eretz Yisrael, there are halachic implications. There's halacha that we learn from it. Because in the Torah there are no extra words, and the Torah is not given over to poetry or prose to make it sound nice, so to speak. You could say, Uvorech, bless your nachalo, asher nasata lonu, period. Why does it add Eretz Zovas Cholav Vodvash? So we have a problem. The problem is, how are we allowed to drink milk? Milk is dover hayotze min achai. It comes from a live animal. And anything that comes from a live animal falls under the halachic prohibition of Eiver min achai, which applies not only to Jews, it applies to all human beings. Not to consume food from an animal while the animal is still alive, while the creature is still alive. So here we have milk that is taken from a cow or a goat or sheep. So milk that's taken from a non-kosher animal, which we'll also talk about in a minute, but from a camel or from a donkey or from a pig. So that milk is osur to us because it comes from a non-kosher source, but from a behemoth tmeah. But a cow is a behemoth tahora, as is a sheep, as is a goat. But nevertheless, we have the problem of a dover hayotze min achai. So the Gemara in Chulin says a startling thing, that we would really be forbidden to drink milk, except the Torah here in this pasuk gave us a specific heter to drink milk, because it said Eretz Zovas Cholav Vodvash. The Torah, so to speak, boasted about the fact that Eretz Yisrael is a country that flows with milk. It would not have said it if we are not allowed to drink milk. So this pasuk comes to be a heter, comes to allow dairy products, everything that we have from milk and its byproducts, because that's part of the blessing of Eretz Yisrael. And so to speak, the Rabbanu Shalom Kaviyachol is the author of this heter. Now, throughout Jewish history, and it's mentioned in the Gemara already, the Gemara Avodah Zarah, So there was a gzeira that Chazal made in the time of the Romans, and it was enforced in all times, that milk has to be Cholav Yisrael. Has to be milk from a Jewish source. Now, that doesn't mean that the cow is Jewish, though there are those that would like to extend it to that as well. But in practical terms, it meant that either the ownership of the animal is Jewish and that the milking process is Jewish. It is done by Jews. The reason for that was because in the general world, cow's milk was oftentimes mixed with milk from pigs, camels, donkeys, other types of animals that are tomei, and dovar yotzi min hatomei tomei, and we could therefore not drink the milk if you don't know that the milk is purely cow's milk. And how do we know that it's purely cow's milk? So that was the gzeira of Cholav Yisrael, that it was at least milked with a Jew looking, with a Jew present. But otherwise, Cholav Akum, it was not permitted. So this was the case till really till the 20th century, until the Western world, the governments of the Western world began to put standards on food. In the United States, it occurred in the 1910s, the First World War, that the agricultural department, which was then created, put standards. And therefore, if it said that it was milk, and there was a time that you will remember, that I remember, I guess nobody else will remember, but that the milk settled to the bottom and the cream was on top in the bottles. And that was a sign that the milk was kosher, because that does not happen with any other type of milk except cow's milk. Today we have homogenized milk. You can't recognize anything. And today's world believes that milk comes from a carton. It has nothing to do with cows or anything. You go to the supermarket and you buy it. That's it. But they set standards. Now, Rabbi Feinstein, in one of his famous tshuvas, said that since the government has interfered, and the government, and really in every dairy in the United States, there's a government inspector, that he inspects the milk. So the government usually inspects the milk for bacteria content. And if it has too high a bacteria content, they spill it all down the drain. I remember I was at a dairy in New York that the government inspector spilled out 25,000 gallons of milk, which is not a small loss. But that's because of the fact that the bacteria count was too high. Something was wrong with the cows. So Rabbi Feinstein says that being the case, we can rely on the government, b'diavad. If there's no Jew present, but the government certifies that this is cow's milk and it meets the standards of the Department of Agriculture, so then the gzeira of Cholav Akum doesn't apply. And it's on that basis that for decades in the United States, and even today, there are people that drink the regular milk. In the yeshiva world and in the Hasidic world, in the United States, they're careful to drink Cholav Yisrael. Cholav Yisrael means that there was a mashgiach that watched the milking. But in our time, that's not true either. There are cameras that watch the milking. Everything today, we're all on camera. There's a film of everything we do. So therefore, you could see if the milk was tampered with. So they got one mashgiach for, let's say, 40 farms or 50 farms where they get the milk. So he can't be at all 50 farms. But there's a possibility that he may be at one of the farms. And that possibility, since he never says where he's coming, so therefore that is enough. It's called mirsas. It's enough that puts the owner on guard with the cameras that he would not mix up the milk. And here in Israel, all the milk is Cholav Yisrael because of the Rabbanut. And the milk here that's called Mahadrin is milk that was not milked on Shabbat. That's the Mahadrin. Because they have to milk the cows on Shabbat. The question is, what do you do with the milk? Most of the milk that's milked on Shabbat here goes into different things. In other words, that it's not sold as milk itself. But that's like the hechsher on cottage cheese and on hard cheese and all the other cheeses. So what's the special hechsher? The special hechsher is that it's not made from Shabbat milk. So that's, the Torah said, Eretz Zovas Cholov, so therefore we have milk. What's dvash? So dvash is not bees' honey. Dvash is date honey. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, and in later times as well, here especially in the Middle East, they weren't so big on bees' honey as they were on date honey. They let the dates ferment and they squeezed them, and the liquid that came out was used for honey. So when it says Eretz Zovas Cholav Udvash, they're talking about date honey. So as long as we're talking, let me just mention, how do we eat bees' honey? Bees are not kosher. It's an insect that's tomei. Kol hayotzi min hatomei tomei. So the Gemara again in Chum discusses this. And the Gemara points out a chidush to us. The Gemara knew the anatomy of bees. The honey that's manufactured in the bees is not through the digestive system. There's a separate sac in the bee that stores the honey. And that sac is not connected to the digestive system at all. So therefore, the honey is not part of the bee in halacha. And therefore the honey is mutter. The same thing is true. There's an insect called lac that exists in South America. It's on the bark of trees. And it's a tomei insect. But it has the same thing. It has a pouch on the side. And in that pouch is a liquid that food uses to polish, to make things bright. Shellac. Shellac means literally from the lac. And therefore M&Ms, let's say, or any of the shiny candies, all have lac that cover it. So there again we have a tshuva from Rabbi Feinstein, who says the same thing that we had before by bees, that since it's not part of the system of the insect, it's a separate sac, it's not called kol hadover hayotzi min hatomei, and therefore that's why it's permissible. So we see that the phrase Eretz Zovas Cholav Udvash has more to it than we originally thought as just being a nice description. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashio